everyone, welcome back to Look Fantastic's YouTube channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Mrs. and today, as you can see by the title, I'm going to be creating a full glam makeup look. We are definitely entering into the winter season, so this is the perfect time to be creating this type of glam. And all the products that I'm going to use today, you can get it from Look Fantastic's website. But before diving into the video, if you are new to the channel, make sure you do subscribe, put your post notifications on to all so you never miss out on uploads. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. So usually before I start filming, I do tend to actually do my brows off camera, but because my eyebrows are freshly threaded, I'm actually going to use a pencil because usually I do use a dip brow pomade. So I'm going to prime first, just to allow the primer to sink into the skin. And because I do have normal to dry combination skin, I do tend to gravitate towards hydrating primers. So the primer I'm going to use today is the NYX Honey Do Me Up primer. So as the primer is going to be setting into my skin, I'm going to go onto my brows. So I'm going to use these two brow products from Benefit Cosmetics. The first one is the Goof Proof Brow Pencil in the shade 4.5. And then I'm going to set my brows with the 24-hour brow setter. I really like about this pencil is that it does have a nice little spoolie. And I'm not really venturous when it comes to my brows. I do the basic where I just fill them in. However, I like to set my brows and stroke them upwards to give it more of a fuller, bushier look. I'm gonna sweep it on this side and just brush it through just to make sure the product is just combed through the hairs properly. I'm just gonna go in with the brow setter to set my brows. Usually at this point I will cover up my brows with a concealer, but I don't really need to do that, so I probably would just neaten them up with my foundation. But so far so good. Speaking of foundation, I'm going to use one of my favorite ones, which is the Oma Beauty Say What foundation. This is actually soft matte but a hydrating formula, beautiful coverage, buildable, and the shade that I use is Brown Sugar T4N. In terms of application, it's very personal, but I personally like to use a brush first and then I'll go in with a damp Miracle sponge or a Real Technique sponge. Any type of sponge would do. So I'm just going to buff that or stipple that in with my brush first. So the next thing I'm going to do is apply some concealer, pretty much in the areas where I like to highlight. And this concealer is also from Oma Beauty. It's the Stay Woke concealer. It's beautiful. I absolutely love the formula. You get medium to buildable coverage, and even with the doe foot, it's quite flexible and it feels so soft and delicate under the eyes. And the shade that I'm going to use today is Brown Sugar T2. So we're just gonna apply under the eyes. I personally do like to use more of a golden undertone. Neutral is also doable as well. Personally like to start from the center of my face and leave the under eyes last because that's where I personally like the coverage, to just get more of the highlighted illusion. But as you can see, for just a few seconds of that concealer sitting on my skin, you can definitely see the coverage, which is beautiful. What I also like to do is just use my foundation brush and just go around the perimeters where I applied my concealer, just to make sure everything is pretty much blended together and there's no harsh demarcation between the concealer and my foundation. We've got some healthy glowy skin going on, but I do love a good highlighted brightened under eye. However, by the time I put all the makeup together, it will pretty much marry together. So I'm gonna set my concealer with a setting powder because as much as I do have normal to dry skin, I need to set my concealer to prevent it from creasing. So I'm going to use the Beauty Bakery Flower Powder, and this is in the shade Plantain, or some may say plantain, but it's a beautiful yellow shade, and it just goes perfect with my bright golden undertone under eyes. So I'm gonna use this to set my face. I don't personally like to bake, I just like to press it into the concealer with a damp sponge. I do tap it at the back of my hand just to take off the excess product, and I'm just gonna press that into the areas where I applied my concealer. Okay, so I'm just dusting off the product with just a nice little fluffy brush, and I'm just gonna semi-set the rest of my face. This is really optional, and sometimes it really depends what type of mood I'm in myself, but I am gonna go in with the matte skin finish in the shade Dark Deepest, which is a skin mineralized finish powder. So I'm just gonna use a little bit of this. It's actually not a pigmented full coverage powder, it's very skin-like. So this is a time where I do bronze my face. Now you can definitely go with some contour, powder contour or cream contour. Yet again, it really depends on the type of mood that I'm in. Bronzer I'm gonna use is the Benefit Cosmetics Hoola Bronzer in the shade Toasted, which looks like so. So this is the Benefit Cosmetics bronzer in the shade Toasted Bronze It. So I do personally like to aim it around here, and then just pat it in the areas where I like to apply my bronzer, and then I will buff it in. Now I'm gonna give you guys a warning, I do tend to go quite heavy with my bronzers and my blush because they do tend to disappear on my skin, so don't be alarmed, there's a bit of a warning, but it will all come together. So with a fluffy brush, I do actually like to go in with my bronzer just to define my nose a little bit. If I have gone a little bit too heavy, which I think I have, I will just use my damp sponge just to blend it so the lines don't look too harsh. I'm definitely going to add a little bit of blush. Now this blush is quite vibrant, so I'm going to go as light as possible, but it is the NARS blush in the shade Exhibit A, which looks like a very deep coral color, beautiful for dark skin complexion. So because this is actually very pigmented, I'm only gonna go quite light, hopefully, and just literally just dust it on my cheeks. Okay, so this is like my usual routine. So I tend to do the majority of my base first and then go in with the eyes. So I'm just gonna use a bit of the same Stay Woke concealer from Oma Beauty just to prep the eyes. So I do tend to do one eye on camera. Eyeshadow is not really my thing, but I do try. So I like to do one eye on camera just to show you guys pretty much what I am going to achieve, and then I will do the rest of my eye makeup off camera. So for the palette that I'm going to use today is the, once again, Oma Beauty, and this is the Black Magic palette. I absolutely love the graphics of this palette. Pretty much your beautiful deep browns, your dark smoky brown, you've got a pop of shimmer, and you've got a gorgeous blue as well, and a deep dark black. A little bit safe and simple but sultry as well. So I'm definitely going to go in with this dark brown shade. This shade is called Poise. As you can see, very pigmented, and how it appears on the eyes is like a dark cool tone brown. Like it can literally look like a greyish black but brown, if that makes sense. Very pigmented, so I'm just patting that all over my lid. And then with a tapered fluffy brush, I'm just going to blend out the edges. I am going to drag it out a little bit because I actually want to go for like sort of cat eye, if that makes sense. So I'm going to do that as well. So just in my crease, I'm going to go in the shade called Mother, which is like a brown but with a rosy undertone. I use the same fluffy brush that I used previously, and I'm just going to pat it into my crease just to soften that area a little bit and just to add a little bit of more dimension. Go back in with Poise just to add more pigment to that shade so it doesn't get lost with my crease color. Woo! Very dramatic, very full, very sultry. So just to soften the edges, because I do have a lot of space between my lids and my brows, so I've got a lot of space to play around with colors. So just around this area, I'm gonna go in with more of like a skin tone shade. I'm gonna use this one here. I think it's Ija. EJA. No, Eja. It has to be Eja. So I'm just going to use that on a very nice tight little fluffy brush. And I'm just going to blend the edges. I really want to use like some of the shimmery shades in my inner corner. So I think I'm going to go in with this one, which is like a off khaki greenish gold. Oh, beaut. Yes. Yes. And then I'm going to use a combination of these two shades down here, which I use on my lids and my crease, just to buff on my lower lash line. I definitely look like I've got a black eye, but once the other eye is done and lashes are applied, we're good to go. And speaking of lashes, I'm actually going to use the Lily Lashes in the Style Mammy Light. Not even going to show you the box because the box looks absolutely awful, but they're basically just like your standard wispy lashes, shorter in the inner corner and then long at the end. So yeah, I'm just going to use these lashes, apply some mascara, and then I'll be back with you guys very shortly. So the lashes are on, and I do apologize if my eyes look really watery and my eyeshadow's a little bit disturbed. I don't know what's happened, but as soon as I got off camera, my eyes started to water. So if you do see that, I can only apologize. So I was thinking of going for like a full-on matte look, but I think I'm going to slightly highlight my face and use my MAC Skin Finish in the shade Gold Deposit. This is actually quite subtle and it's like a glow from within highlighter, but is very pigmented at the same time. I'm just going to use like a nice little fluffy tapered brush and just to apply this on the apples of my cheeks and my high point with a nude lipstick. And you are a bit deeper and darker, you definitely need a brown lip liner, so I'm going to go in with one of my favorites, which is the MAC lip liner in the shade Chestnut, and then I'm going to fill in my lips with the MAC lipstick in the shade Whirl. And then to set my face, I'm going to go in with my Pixie Glow Setting Mist. Give it a nice little shake. It does actually have argan oil, which is good. And just spray this all off my face to set my makeup. Okay guys, so that is pretty much the end of the video and my final and completed look. So this is my version of doing a very sexy, sultry, full glam, perfect for the winter, and I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. So all the details will be in the description box below. Make sure you do subscribe on your way out, and make sure you give this video a huge thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching, I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye.